Hey everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome to the start of another vlog. So this vlog is going to be Facebook recommends different books. So at the beginning of the year, when it was going around all the hype, like there was a template that I will put up here that was like, recommend me your 12 favorite books or your favorite books from like the year 2022. And so I put it on my Facebook and I put it on my Instagram. And I have already done the vlog of me reading what the recommendations were from Instagram. And Instagram is a mix of people I know in real life, people I've met through booktube, random accounts, and people that have followed me or I followed them. Like, it is a hodgepodge. And so the recommendations were also kind of a hodgepodge, and it worked out okay. I think I read 6 books, and the average was like 3.5, so they were all okay. Nothing stand out as really, really great, nothing really, really terrible, but my Facebook is all just in real life friends. There's a couple people that I have met through YouTube or whatever, but mostly in real life friends. And so these people know me pretty well. And so when they are recommending me their favorite books, I think they are all thinking certain little books that I will like. I think. So I have higher hopes for this list, but I got 12 books and I have no idea how to narrow it down. And if I do 12 books in one vlog, it might be super long. So let's just get into the recommendations. So, the first one was the Class Mom series, and that's by Lori Gelman. And you guys, it is so cute. I have read that series, and so that one is not going to be in this vlog because I know like 1 and 3. I think it's a 4-book series, and I really like those books. So great recommendation, but I'm not going to be reading it because I already have. Next is Fantastic Land, and this one is so not what I would pick up. I think on Goodreads it is classified as horror, and it's about a theme park like in the 1970s, maybe a theme park that is in Florida maybe, and like a hurricane or something comes and makes everybody that's there get trapped in the theme park for a certain amount of time, and just horror ensues. And so then it's trying to figure out what happened in the time that they were stuck there. I think sounds totally out of my wheelhouse, but I really trust the person that gave me this recommendation, and I chatted with her a little bit, and she said somebody gave the recommendation to her, again, kind of like out of her wheelhouse, and she really liked it. So I think it's worth a shot. And I think the whole point of this video is to kind of get me trying things, like, because I could pick the ones that I'm most interested in, but then that's no different than like me just curating my own TBR. This is to kind of get me out of my box and see what my friends loved and what I may love. So that one, I am trying to get a copy. I like have a few physical books here that, because I didn't have any of these, I don't think, on my shelf. And so I tried to get them all from the library, and I couldn't. So Fantastic Land, I'm still waiting on a copy, either digitally, physically, any of that. So we'll see, but I plan to read that. Next is Legacy by Nora Roberts. So I got the large print edition. You guys tell me what you think about large print, because I love it. Like, I just feel so much more accomplished because the pages turn so much quicker because it's big font. And so I don't mind. And our library had multiple large print copies, so I also don't feel like I'm taking from somebody who necessarily needs it. And if I'll probably prioritize this one, maybe, I don't know, or else take it back and read it digitally. I don't know, but let me know your thoughts on large print. So this one, I think, is about a young girl who says she was 7 when she met her father for the first time. That was the day he nearly killed her. And so then her mom takes her to live with like the grandparents or something. And the mom goes off. She's like this fitness influencer, Fitspo person. And now it's many years later, and our young girl is grown up, and she is also into like yoga Fitspo or something, I don't know, and she starts to get death threats, and her mom's like, no big deal, that's just part of being like famous or whatever. And she's like, no, I think there's something more to this. So sounds really interesting. I really like Nora Roberts. She's normally romantic suspense, and so I'm assuming there's going to be some romance in here. Generally, I feel like that line is kind of hard to walk, but I think these are going to be more mystery thriller, less romance, because I don't even think there's a romance mentioned in the synopsis, but I'm assuming it's going to be there, so we'll see. Next is the Time Out series by Emma Murray. So this one I think is going to be somewhat similar to the Class Mom series. It is on Kindle Unlimited, so that is how I'll read it, and it is a series of books just about motherhood. I've heard it's laugh out loud funny, and just exactly kind of what I've been wanting lately, because motherhood especially has been tricky lately. Like, we are in the thick of stomach flus, sicknesses, attitudes, fighting, hormones. I don't know what we're in the middle of, but like motherhood, some days at the end of the day, Jeremy and I just are like, we have to laugh, otherwise we'll cry. So I think it'll be really funny, and I can't wait to pick it up. Next is Everyone is Beautiful by Catherine Sender. So I think this is one of her backlists. Well, I know it's one of her backlists. I just don't know how far backlist it is. It's her second book, because The Bright Side of Disaster is the only book listed, and I loved that book. That was a women's fiction about motherhood, and I think this one is also the same. This is about a woman who she's basically spent her life being a mom, following her husband's like career ambitions. I think they moved their whole family because he wants to be a musician or something. And she finds that she has lost herself, and so she's trying to find herself as well as like maintain her family, which is kind of hard to do because it's really easy to lose yourself in this role as a mother, wife, whatever, and then it's going to cause some waves if you say, hey, wait, no, I need time for me. So I think that's what this story is about. It is short. I'm very interested in this. It is very short, my goodness, less than 250 pages, I think. So yeah, I'm really interested in this. I mean, it's 250 very full pages in this copy, but yeah, so this one sounds really interesting. I also love Catherine Sender. Like, I don't think I've read a book by her that I don't like. So, yeah. Next is The Midwife's Confession by Diane Chamberlain. So this one, I'm shocked I cannot get a copy of. And I need to just get on Pango or buy a physical copy. I'm trying not to buy these just in case. But Diane Chamberlain is one that I want to own her whole backlist. But I've actually read some duds lately, so I don't know if I do want to. I'm existential crisis. But this one is about, I think, a woman who is a midwife. And she leaves a suicide note for her friends. And so her friends, it's an incomplete suicide note. So I think her friends are trying to figure out why she did what she did, what was going on. Normally with these, they're pretty like drama filled, and so not necessarily thriller. Like, I don't know if there's anything sinister going on, but I would imagine there's definitely secrets. And I also cannot find a digital copy, so I don't know if this is like way backlist, which makes me nervous. But I love Diane Chamberlain. The premise sounds great, so I have high hopes. Next is The Gilded Years by Karen Tanabe. So this one says, since childhood, Anita Hemmings longed to attend the country's most exclusive school for women, Vassar College. Now a bright, beautiful senior in the class of 1897, she's hiding a secret that would have banned her from admission. Anita is the only African-American student to ever attend Vassar. So she's trying to hide the fact that she's African-American. And so she kind of like reserves herself, cuts herself off from friends, like doesn't really get involved in things because she doesn't want anybody to find out. But she has a friend, and I think maybe somebody gets involved with her brother or something, and so secrets like may come out. I don't know. It sounds good. I also did large print in this one, and it says Utterly Captivating, which is ironic because it's Utterly Captivating by Kathleen Grissom, New York Times bestselling author of The Kitchen House. So the next book that was recommended to me was The Kitchen House, and these were both recommended by the same people, The Gilded Years and The Kitchen House. So I may just read one or the other. I'm not sure what I'll do for sure. But The Kitchen House is a book about a young girl who I think she was orphaned, and she was sent then to live on this plantation to help work in the kitchen house. And she ends up like getting invited into the big house and getting kind of like adopted by this white family. She's an African-American young girl, or maybe I know she's black. I don't know if she's African-American. And she was a black immigrant, and I'm not exactly sure from where, but so she then gets adopted kind of by this white family. And so a lot of racial dynamics, I think. It sounds really interesting. So I'll probably pick one of the two since those are both recommended by the same person. Next is Not So Meet Cute by Megan Quinn. So this is, I think, the only probably strictly romance on this list, and I'm not in my romance era, and I think people know that. And so this one though sounds cute. Megan Quinn does great romance, like great kind of rom-com-y things. And this one is about, I think it's a fake dating situation. These people like run into each other, literally, I think, and decide to fake date for whatever reason. And so sounds good. Next is The Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent. So this one is a thriller that I don't know a whole lot about. I know it's about a mom and her 3 girls, I think, who all are living like off the grid, away from civilization, probably running from something, hiding from something, I don't know. And then one of the girls gets really sick. So the mom takes her into town and never comes back. And so then dangerous things start to happen with the other two sisters. I don't know. Sounds intriguing. This was actually like my best friend that recommended it. And her and I like never really talked books until lately. And so I'm really curious to see what her taste is in books. And then the last three, well, actually the last four are all Jodi Picoult books. No, I'm wrong. One was 3 Wishes by Liane Moriarty, and I have already read that, so that's off. And so the last 3 are Jodi Picoult books. So we've got A Spark of Light, and I think this one is about a reproductive center that a gunman comes into. And this one I know is told in like, I think reverse timeline of like from when the guy came in, the shooter came in, and then reversing back, I think. So yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm really intrigued. Traces its way in a story that traces its way back to what brought each of these very different individuals to the same place on this fateful day. So sounds interesting. The next one is Wish You Were Here, and this one I think is about a couple who they're gonna go on vacation or something, and then he can't go, she goes, and COVID happens, and so she gets like stuck there in the Galapagos by herself. Sounds not rough, but yeah. So completely isolated, Diana finds herself examining her relationships, her choices, and herself. So sounds very introspective. And then the last one is Mad Honey. And this is about a woman I know who has to go take over her father's beekeeping. And then it's also like the young girl who starts dating her son. I don't really know much more than that. But so I'll probably pick one of these Jodis. So I wanted to give you guys all the recommendations. I'm not sure I'll read, well, I know I won't read all 12 because I will not read, 12 did not include the Class Mom series or the Liane Moriarty that I've already read. So there were 12 that I have not read. So judging by the fact that this is already 12 minutes, I probably won't read all of them, or else maybe this will be a 2-parter. I don't know. So I just wanted to give them all to you, and I will check in. I think I'm going to read Everyone is Beautiful first, because I have this physical copy due pretty soon, as well as the digital copy due pretty soon. So I think I'll read this one first, and then I will update you and let you know what I think, and we'll just kind of see what I choose throughout. I wanted to get all the physical copies so I could, again, predict like what would be my favorite and least favorite, but these are so different. Like a Megan Quinn versus a Fantastic Land horror. I don't know how I could even compare those, and I was way off in the first one, so I don't think I'm going to do that. We'll just hang tight and see how these go. So I'll check in soon. Hey everyone, so it's the next day, and I have finished Everyone is Beautiful, and I feel like I need to just like externally process my thoughts on this book, because I thought the beginning was so good. Like it immediately hooked me, and the story is about this woman who has 3 little kids, very similar I think in ages to mine, and hers are all boys, but she is moving across the country from like Houston to Cambridge or somewhere, Massachusetts, because her husband got a job, and so she's moving and kind of struggling. Like she's just in a rut, she's overweight, overstimulated, just like under supported and like she just kind of has lost herself, and she runs into an old friend, and that is good because she has that friend then throughout the book, but otherwise she's just kind of lost in motherhood, which totally is something that is so easy to do, especially when you are a stay-at-home mom. In fact, I am at Edda's 6-month appointment, you guys, and she like doing a doctor's appointment at like her morning nap time. Worst decision I've ever made. But her babies, their nap times and all that changes so quick that I didn't know. But so she was volatile. She was mad, and anyway. I don't know what that had to do with anything, except that I'm sitting outside of there, and it's just been like a doozy of a parenting morning, and it's not even 10 o'clock. But so that's what's going on in her life, and I really like that. And then so she decides to join a gym, and starts going to work out at nights just as something to do for herself. She also joins a photography class, and again, just kind of for something to do for herself, to kind of rediscover things that she's passionate about outside of motherhood. And I like that. However, I feel like this book did, like, as her like growth started to happen, I feel like we got told about it and not really shown it. Like, it was too much. And her husband was terrible. And like, I think we were supposed to like him, but like, she joins the gym and then he's like, oh, I'm going to start going to the gym. And she's like, no, like, this is my place, dude. Like, this is my thing for me to be alone. And like, I understood those emotions so much. And yet he goes and like their grouchy neighbor starts watching the boys, and the grouchy neighbor turns out to be really great and like a big part of their lives. And that's great. So there's like, and I feel like there's just like, so that the neighbor storyline is a thing. The gym storyline is a thing. The photography class storyline is a thing, but none of them were really like, so the whole everyone is beautiful is she decides to do her like project on just photographing like ordinary women, and she sees all the beauty in ordinary women and like just ordinary life, you know, people who aren't necessarily like societally beautiful but are beautiful. And like, I wanted more of that. And like, how did she come to like body acceptance and just like all, like, how did she come to contentment? And I love the idea that like, once she was more fulfilled, like she was able to fill her cup more, then she was able to like pour more out into other people. I love that. And like, I love that she wasn't as like flustered by the other things, which makes sense. But like, I feel like we just didn't get to see it. We got told it. And like, we saw the experiences, but we weren't in the experiences with her. And yeah. And so then like, and her husband does another thing that is so yucky, and like, I don't know. So like, the third act conflict was kind of there, and I don't know. I did not love her husband at all. And I just wanted more of this book. Like, either I wanted the reformation to come through the gym stuff and I wanted to hear more about the gym stuff, or I wanted it to come through the photography thing and I wanted to hear more about the photography thing. There's also like a relationship with her mother that is talked about a lot, or her parents, but primarily her mother, and how she's realizing that like, she is not their child anymore, and like, times change, her childhood home, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, she's growing and changing, and I just wanted to feel it in a way that I didn't. So 4 stars, maybe 3.5, probably 3.5, because it was like good but not great. And like, because there was so much going on but kind of surface level, I feel like I'm not going to remember it for that long. So good start though, because I was like, especially in the first half, I like did not want to put it down. So good start. So far, so good. So, and yeah, vlogging wise, life wise, I'm at the doctor. My babysitter from across the street is playing with the big girls because it's beautiful outside. So, now I'm going to run literally 30 books back to the library that between me and my kids. So we're going to run that back, and then, just go back to doing the mom thing and hopefully being outside, because I think it's going to rain the rest of the week. So that's it. I will check in, next time I pick up a book. Hey everyone, so don't mind the spit up on my shoulder and, you know, the messiness, but I have almost finished The Midwife's Confession by Diane Chamberlain, and I wanted to get on and like update my thoughts as it was going, but I have just been like reading it every spare minute, and so I'm really liking it, obviously. I love Diane Chamberlain, and like, there's been a few duds, but almost none that I don't like. And this one is a good friend that I also really trust. And so I'm not surprised that I'm liking it as much as I am. But this one is about a few different perspectives. And that is really my complaint about it, is that it's not one that you want to start and stop a million times, because it's kind of like, until you get a ways through it, it's kind of hard to remember who's who and how everybody's connected. It's not hard if you can read it in like a few big chunks, but like a chapter here, a chapter there, it's kind of hard. And that's kind of been how I've been doing it. But it's about 2 friends who they've been friends for a long time, and there was a third one. Like, there were 3 friends. The third friend was a midwife, and she committed suicide and left a note. And so we know, like, that's what happened, whatever. There's no like mystery on what happened. But there's a lot of mystery about her past, because her friends thought she was still an active midwife, and she was not. She had not been a midwife. They found out like she had not been a midwife for years. And there's like journals and different diary things, like notes and things, that they're discovering more and more about their friend, and that they didn't really know their friend. And so we're getting the friend's perspective, like from the past, obviously. we're getting both women present day, and they've both got different things going on. Both have teenagers in different situations there. We actually do get one of the perspectives of the teenagers. We also get another woman that we don't know how she's connected until we do. And there's a lot of going on, a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of people interconnected. And it's like Diane Chamberlain, I feel like she does it really well, where she creates like the whole community, the whole scene, and you get to see all elements. And so I really enjoy that. But it also makes it a little bit like, wait, who's who, what? And this is a very female-centric book, like not a feminist book, but like we're getting all those women's perspectives, and they've all got relatively like generic names. And so it's just a little bit to remember who's who, but I am really enjoying it. I'm like 80% of the way through. I'm surprised by all the different twists and things, and I'm interested to see how it all plays out. And, the teenagers, I feel like she writes them really, really well. She writes like I can definitely see myself doing the things that they're doing as teens, and I like getting to see both that kind of YA perspective and the adult perspective. And so I'm going to go get my kiddo to stop playing the piano right here, because you guys, it wouldn't be a clip without some background noise. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I will check in and give you my final thoughts, but I'm guessing it's going to be about a 4-star. Hey everyone. So happy Sunday / daylight savings day / exhausted parents everywhere, because we sprung forward and we have got a cold in our house. And so, Edda was up most of the night anyway, and then we lost the hour, so we are riding the struggle bus, but just had to run a couple errands, and so I figured I would update while I'm by myself and in the quiet. I did finish the book last night, and it was like the end was supposed to be like this mic drop moment, and even though I like twist, not necessarily like a mic drop moment, but a twist, and even though I had read the whole book and felt like I had everybody straight and everything going on, I was still like, wait, who, what, and had to like mind bend myself around it. So definitely a little confusing, but I gave it 4 stars, and it was good. So just a few too many characters, a few too many interconnections to like, it just was a little much. So overall pretty good. So that's that. We'll see you after I read the next one. Hey everyone, so I definitely thought I got on here and let you know the next book I started, and I didn't. So at this point I have finished it, because I don't want this vlog to be a million years long, and so I didn't want to give you a midway update, but I have been reading Legacy by Nora Roberts for a while. And it's not because I didn't like this book. So Nora Roberts is kind of known for romantic suspense, and I feel like that genre is really hard to do, because either the romance suffers or the suspense thriller element suffers. And this one I actually feel like did pretty good at both feeling like they had a place. My complaint about this book is that the first half felt like a women's fiction and the second half felt like a thriller, and the two halves, like, I see why she did what she did, but it was just kind of like a big tone shift that kind of pulled me out. So this book is about, I'm already blanking on her name. Darn it. Adrian? I think Adrian, maybe. She is a girl a woman, well, she starts as like a teenager. Her mom is like a social media, well, not social media because it was a time ago, but she was like a workout person, and had this line of stuff, uber famous, whatever. Mom was not, her daughter was not really a priority. And so she did not know her dad. Her dad was only in the picture for like one day, and he tried to hurt her, and so he left, and that was it. So now as a teenager, she decides to start doing like YouTube videos, yoga videos, and she wants to do it completely independent of her mom. And so she gets some friends to help her and starts this whole line independent of her mom, as much as you can be when you have a famous mom. And so she does that, and she starts getting threatening letters or poems. They're poems. And that part is like in there, but not really. Like, really, she goes home and to her hometown. She meets this guy who she used to be best friends with his sister, and so there's like a romance there, whatever. That's what the first half of the book is just following our main character, getting to know her, watching her kind of build her career. And doesn't really trust men very much because of her daddy issues and stuff. And so she's not in a committed relationship, doesn't really want one. So there's that going on. And then like we get little snippets of the poems like in that first half, but really that part doesn't ramp up until the second half. And so then it becomes a case of like who's doing this, why, all that kind of stuff. So against her better, like against what she wants, her family hires a private investigator. And my complaint is that like the private investigator had one idea of who this was, and she was right. So like there just never was that much tension, and there was not really any red herrings, and it just kind of lagged. Like it felt like a really long book for the lack of tension. And I was reading physically like a really easy chick lit book, and I kept getting the two confused. And like for a thriller, I feel like that shouldn't happen. And so, I mean, maybe that's unnecessarily harsh because it is a romantic suspense, not necessarily a thriller, but I don't know. I definitely felt like it was just missing some tension. So I liked it, probably like a 3.5 stars. I would recommend it if you're a big Nora Roberts fan. But just go in kind of expecting that tone shift about halfway through, and not to get very much tension really throughout, but definitely not in the first half. So whatever you're into, you may like this, you may not. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I will probably forget it really soon because, like I said, the thriller element was pretty straightforward, and you kind of knew who did it and why. I mean, you kind of knew the whole thing. So that is my thoughts on that. I'm not sure what I'll pick up next because it's been like a break since I have updated this, because we had the backlist readathon, and then I don't know if I talked about it earlier in the vlog, but my house has not been healthy for like 6 weeks. And so my oldest daughter got strep throat and is currently, I took her in on Tuesday. Today's Friday. So she's 3 days in or whatever to amoxicillin. And then today, my middle daughter doesn't seem to be feeling good. So I don't know if she's got strep throat, if she's got something else. It's just a never-ending cycle of somebody being sick. Always. And so it's been a little bit of a break, and my brain is a little muddled. I'm reading a nonfiction right now that has nothing to do with this vlog, and I'm just kind of sparsing these in as we go. So like I said, this may be a longer vlog, but we'll see. So I will check in and let you know what I pick up next.